For the first time in 12 long years, Julian Assange is a free man. Very strange, unexpected news to drop sometime around dinner time, depending on where you were at Monday evening. And I say that it's strange and unexpected, but definitely not unwelcomed. And there are people that have been working on this very moment for a very long time. So obviously, this is incredibly cathartic for so many people. And Julian Assange is in fact somebody who didn't do anything wrong. He is somebody who is in fact the poster child for being abused by the system, and the fact that he is now free is a wonderful moment in time. It's just I'm wondering, man, given the fact that he was embroiled in such a years-long conspiracy, inquiring minds do wonder why now of all time. Okay, but let's at least get some of the groundwork going before, we start to pick this stuff apart. So yeah, we got word earlier in the day on Monday that, Assange is free. It's like, wait, what? Did I mishear that? And then, ended up getting the video. Don't really need any sound on that. Just the fact that, the guy's out. Okay, he's out. He's been in a London prison for a long time. Now he's boarding a plane, and thankfully we haven't heard anything about a PJ getting shot down on the way to Australia. So yeah, he should be there by this time. By the time that you guys see this video, for sure. And statement from his wife: throughout the years of Julian's imprisonment and persecution, an incredible movement has been formed. People from all walks of life from around the world who support not just Julian, but what Julian stands for: truth and justice. Glad to hear it, man. Definitely glad to hear it. But we got the statement here from WikiLeaks, of course, his organization. Julian Assange is free. He left Belmarsh maximum security prison in the morning of the 24th of June, having spent 1,901 days there. God, the only thing longer than his prison stay is wait for George R.R. Martin to finish the books. He was granted bail by the High Court in London and was released at Stansted Airport during the afternoon, where he boarded a plane and departed the UK. This is a result of a global campaign that spanned grassroots organizers, press freedom campaigners, legislators, and leaders from across the political spectrum, all the way to the United Nations. This created the space for a long period of negotiations with the U.S. Department of Justice, leading to a deal that is not yet been formally finalized. We might know about that now, but at time of recording, Monday evening, all we know is that Julian's up in the air, so good on him. We'll provide more information as soon as possible, and I'll follow up on it for sure. After more than 5 years in a 2x3 meter cell, so in a 6x10 cell, isolated 23 hours a day, he will soon reunite with his wife Stella Assange and their children, who have only known their father from behind bars. Behind bars in a prison or in an embassy and may as well be a prison cell, all for the crime of telling the truth. Okay. WikiLeaks published groundbreaking stories of government corruption and human rights abuses, holding the powerful accountable for their actions. As editor-in-chief, Julian paid severely for these principles and for the people's right to know. As he returns to Australia, we thank you for those who stood by us, fought for us, and remained utterly committed to the fight for his freedom. Julian's, freedom is our freedom. Exactly. And there's a lot of people. Who could have made this moment come a hell of a lot sooner, but of course, Julian wasn't a member of the family. He wasn't a black rapper. He wasn't somebody who had a high enough profile. I mean, he helped a certain candidate get elected by exposing the improprieties of another, but we don't need to get into that. Of course not. I mean, what's going to be up for discussion on Thursday with that first debate coming around? Because yes, there's going to be a plea deal that's going to be reached with the DOJ. So obviously, that plea can end up getting expunged via presidential pardon. So while it won't mean the significance that, freeing this innocent man from jail could have a few years back, a year back, if somebody was taking a look at the polls and realized, oh boy, we're definitely losing our more moderate base, they couldn't pull the free Julian Assange card any faster or on the way out the door. Mostly because I would imagine certain people are just worried that there are certain skeletons and closets of people currently in power right now, but we'll let that theorize. I just wonder if this is going to be a name that comes up during said debates, but let's get into a few more details. Okay, Assange is free. WikiLeaks founder strikes a deal with the U.S. WikiLeaks founder Assange is expected to plead guilty to a felony charge related to his alleged role in one of the biggest leaks of classified information in a recent U.S. history, per court documents filed Monday. Assange is free per WikiLeaks statement, which we read there. Deal concludes a years-long legal battle and international spectacle over Assange's imprisonment and handling of security secrets. Assange had faced life in prison if convicted of 18 criminal counts in the United States under the Espionage Act, which is interesting, right? Because now he's a free man and he struck a plea deal that's allowing him to return to his home country. That's why I'm wondering, man. It's like you've got 18 counts, 18 Fed counts on the Espionage Act. That's some serious shit. I'm just wondering, why now? Not like he doesn't deserve the plea deal. Hell, he deserves all of those charges to be dropped, in my opinion. But it's interesting. It's very interesting. A judge must approve Assange's guilty plea, and he is expected to appear in federal court in Mariana Island, a United States Commonwealth, on Wednesday morning, local time, before returning to Australia after his plea deal and sentencing. Yep. Oh, okay. I guess we'll hear about that stuff tomorrow. Yeah, I think tomorrow, depending on, because this is all, of course, contingent on a bunch of different time zones and stuff. But yeah, we'll likely have some sort of a follow-up by the end of the week, obviously. Biden said in April he was considering an Australian government request for the United States to end the effort to prosecute Assange and for him to return to his home country. We heard the same stuff during the Trump administration when Assange was first put in that awful max security prison in London, because there were some concerns at that point in time, and to think that he's been locked up since then when there were all of those red flags being raised then, it's all very, it's very strange, man. The Australian-born Assange was arrested in 2019 after leaving London's Ecuadorian Embassy. Evicted, tomato, following a 7-year stay there that ended when the country withdrew its offer of asylum. He had been in custody in the UK ever since. Assange has long argued that acting as a journalist when he published on WikiLeaks leaked US government documents on Iraq and Afghanistan. Australia's parliament passed a motion in February calling for Assange to return home, saying the case against him has gone on for far too long. Exactly. When asked to comment of Australia's diplomatic effort, the State Department said that, hey, you better properly gender us, otherwise we'll throw you in jail. Because if you think terms of service on certain social media platforms or certain countries around the world with their hate speech laws are laughable, Australia takes it to a new level. Representatives of the Justice Department and the Australian government did not immediately respond to Axios's request for comment. Let's see what NBC has on this stuff, because they have a couple more details. Assange was charged by criminal information, which typically signifies a plea deal, with conspiracy to obtain and disclose national defense information, the court documents say. A letter from Justice Department official Matthew McKenzie to U.S. District Judge Ramona Magnola, of the Northern Mariana Island District, said that Assange would appear in court at 9 a.m. local time on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time Tuesday. Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll have an update on Wednesday for that stuff. It's all good. It's all copacetic. To plead guilty, and the Justice Department expects Assange will return to Australia, his country of citizenship, after the proceedings. Okay, so he's going to be getting a pretty good deal for very lofty charges. It's very strange. The U.S. charges against Assange stemmed from one of the largest publications of classified information in the American history, which took place during, Barack Obama's first term. Were just the only thing that's surprising about this, and the fact that it, took place during the Obama administration, is that nobody was drone striked for it. Starting in late 2009, according to the government, Assange conspired with, at the time, Bradley, but now Chelsea Manning, who did get pardoned by Barack, but not Assange. Strange. Military intelligence analyst to use his WikiLeaks website to disclose tens of thousands of activity reports about the war in Afghanistan, which coincidentally Biden ended up wrapping up. Very, Very strange. Hundreds of thousands of State Department cables and assessment briefs of detainees at the U.S. detention camp in Guantanamo Bay, which Barack Obama, remember, he was going to close that. How's that still operating? Court documents revealing Assange's plea deal were filed Monday evening. The U.S. District Court of Northern Mariana Island, a U.S. territory. Yes, we know all that stuff. Assange is expected to appear in court, and to be sentenced to 62 months with credit for time served in a British prison, meaning that, he just got credit for time served arrivederci, which is, it's great, man. Like, I don't want to play downer on this. I just want to play questioner, because all of this stuff, it holds true to that old axiom. If it looks too good, if it sounds too good to be true, well, is it? This is an independent decision made by the Department of Justice, and there was no White House involvement in the plea deal decision. Wouldn't you think at this point in time, with Biden's numbers so far underwater, and when asked, whenever polled on this position, the public overwhelmingly support the Free Julian Assange campaign, wouldn't you think that he would try to take credit for this in some form or fashion? Assange has been held in high-security Belmarsh prison on the outskirts of London for 5 years, 7 years in an Ecuadorian embassy, and now he's finally out there, and there are some people that are going to be, oh boy, a little hot under the, well, my shirt doesn't really have a collar, but I think you get what I'm going for. Now that Assange will be free after striking a plea deal, Bill and Hillary Clinton will have a lot to worry about. So that kind of makes sense why Hillary has been making a fair few more prominent public appearances lately. Assange exposed Hillary Clinton was taking Saudi Arabian donations and approving the arms sales supplied to ISIS. Yeah, because I would imagine it's probably contingent in his plea deal that no, you don't do any of that stuff that was, you were really good and very notable for back in the cut, okay? You stop doing all of that stuff, and Julian's going to go, okay, I promise I won't do it, and everybody has their fingers crossed behind their backs, and all go about their merry days, but let's be honest, man, WikiLeaks is still operating. There are other sources where, information can get disseminated. Those channels didn't shut down. They slowed down a lot during the past 5 years specifically, but at this point in time, now that we're really, especially with Thursday being the unofficial kickoff to the election season, if there's going to be any new leaks pop out, oh yeah, it's going to be happening fast and furiously. And while Assange, he's not a political pawn for either side of the aisle to use, he has released information, especially, in regards to the Afghanistan war. Gee, who launched that one? The Iraq war, the exact same stuff. He's not a political partisan. It's just, what was the most notable thing that he revealed? Oh, right. Hillary Clinton's a terrible lady, but do you really need to be a journalist in order to, connect those dots? Anyways, Assange, there was an early 2014 email from Hillary Clinton, not so long after she left the Secretary of State, her campaign manager, John Podesta. Interesting. An email that states that ISIS is funded by Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Oh, yeah. And another state in the Middle East that, helped make them a thing by destabilizing the political landscape, but that's all right. We don't need to talk about that. The government of Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and now this is, I think is the most significant email of the whole collection, and perhaps Saudi and Qatari money is spread all over the place, including into many media institutions. All serious analysts know. Even the United States government has mentioned or agreed that some Saudi figures have been supporting ISIS, funding ISIS, but the dodge has always been that it's just some rogue princes using their cut to the oil money to do whatever they like, but actually the government disapproves. But the email says that no, it is the governments of Saudi and the government of Qatar that have been funding. Well, yeah, there's some dark money at play there. It's just there's some other people either directly funding or also bankrolling, if you will. The Saudis, Qataris, Moroccans, Bahrainis, particularly the Saudis and Qataris, are giving all this money to the Clinton Foundation. Yeah, okay, that's why, the Saudis and the Qataris are specifically important to said story here, because they're using, the Clinton Foundation as a money wash. There are other places that can use other institutions. It starts with an A and ends with PAC. They want to clean some money. Under Hillary Clinton, and Clinton emails revealed a significant discussion about it, the largest ever arms deal in the world was made with Saudi Arabia, more than $80 billion. Does anybody remember Benghazi? In fact, during her tenure as Secretary of State, total arms are exported from the United States in terms of dollar value doubled. Wow, real shrewd business lady right there. And of course, the consequences of that is a notorious terrorist jihadist group called ISIL or ISIS is created largely with money from the very people who are giving money to the Clinton Foundation. That's extraordinary. Very much so. And it was stuff like that that got Julian Assange tied up for over a decade. Over a goddamn decade for simply exposing the shit that your elected officials try to get away with behind the scenes. Ain't it great? Ain't it great? Not the guy who did any of this stuff and gets thrown away and gets a decade of his life ruined, incurs unknown numbers of mental scars and trauma. No. He gets punished, but not the people behind the scenes. Never not going to sit right with me. What happened with this guy, and I'm not alone in that sentiment either. Many people that are out there are also taking this same approach. It's just, I'm wondering why this is happening right now, and why the deal where he's only getting time served. Not that he doesn't deserve it, it's just, I got questions. I still have questions on this one. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone, and finally, free Assange.